Seeing Dave Ramsey cut them up. But of course, I'm talking about credit cards. And to help us avoid a horror story of our own is our financial expert, Chip Cummings. Chip, great to see you, buddy.
You too. How you been?
I've been pretty well. You know, looking at some of the information on these horror stories, I guess I'm doing better than some others.
Well, imagine going into a McDonald's, spending $3 on a fry and a Coke, and then coming out a week later figuring out you spent $71. It really burns you, doesn't it?
Over and over again.
Yeah, you know, you could have a service charge taken out, you overdraw the account, next thing you know, $35 overdraft fee, and in this case, they were charging $6 per day until it was covered. These fees can really kill you, and that's what we want to try and avoid.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, the first thing is make sure you understand what your terms are at your bank or your credit card company. If you go over the limit, what are they going to charge you? If you have an overdraft, how much leeway do you have? There are some banks now that have this overdraft protection that will charge you a set fee and then not on a daily basis, but they can really eat you up in terms of those service charges, so make sure you understand what those are.
Okay, now let's talk about the debt is incredible. The average household in America it's pretty high, isn't it, for credit cards?
It's almost $16,000.
Wow,
it is, and the average household has 3.5 cards, and as much as I love
3.5 cards,
3.5 credit cards.
Holy cow!
Some have a lot more than that, and as much as I love Dave Ramsey and get along with him great, cutting up a card, you still need credit cards. Take international travel for an example. If you're going to travel internationally, you have to have a separate card that's clean and clear that you do not use for anything else, because if that number gets taken, it could be a while before you get that fixed. I had a situation just recently in Mexico where within 6 minutes a number was taken after it was used in a restaurant and was being used over in Korea.
No kidding.
$3,500 in less than a week in charges racked up before they caught it.
Typically, you don't have to pay those, right?
Well, you don't. You are protected. There is a protection $50 limitation. But the time and expense in clearing it up, you know, the phone calls and everything like that. People love debit cards, but that's another one, Mike. You want to make sure that you don't use your debit card for travel and any situation where it could possibly be compromised. Because while, again, you are protected on debit cards, that money's going to get cleared out of your account, and then
you're out of luck.
Yeah, you could not be paying your bills with money that's gone.
Which is really awful. You mentioned checking the terms and all that. How quickly do you need to report these things? Right away? Sometimes you don't find out there's a problem until, who knows, a week later, right?
Yeah, as soon as you know, you need to call the 800 number. And a lot of people say, well, the 800 number's on the back of the card and it's gone.
Right.
You want to make sure you write down your credit card number and the 800 number for customer service somewhere secure. You keep it in a separate location, especially if you travel. Give it to your spouse or somebody else, so that way you can call right away. There are, of course, numbers online. You could Google it and find out those numbers and call. But again, it's just going to save you time and expense in getting those covered right away.
And I guess maybe cash can always come in handy.
Well, cash does. You know? A lot of people find that it's a little too easy to spend if you got it sitting in your pocket.
Right.
One of the other things, though, that's really important that you do is if you're using prepaid cards, and that's the third type of credit card out there, there are new regulations that are being proposed later today.
Okay.
And if you're using a prepaid card, make sure you know what those fees are, because they can charge you $10 to $15 per month just to have those cards. And it can get really outrageous as far as the fees.
On top of what else you may be buying or using it for.
You think you got $1,000 on that card, and you don't.
All right, Chip, some great stuff. We always appreciate it. And hit your show real quick.
Oh, Financial Fitness Show.
Yes.
Yeah, we are now statewide on weekends. An hour show here in Grand Rapids, locally on 1340 at 8 o'clock on Saturday mornings. But great reviews, great stuff that we're covering. Ways to build wealth, save money, and, of course, for small business owners, how to build a small business.
Very good. Chip, good to see you.
You too.
All right, we, of course, are going to be moving along now. It's 8:17. Still ahead, we are